Okay, so it's time to look at some of the great cities in a very special place called Italy. My name is Steve Heimler.
And my name is Heath Steimler.
And my name is Vivaan.
And today we're going to be giving you a little bit of fascinating history on the hottest touring spots in Italy.
That way, you will understand the greatness that surrounds you.
Why are you singing so loud?
That way, you will be understanding the greatness that surrounds you while you're visiting Florence and Venice.
And you can show those other tourists who's boss.
So if
you're
you're ready to get them brain cows milk, then let's get to it.
So we're going to start in the city of Florence, aka the home of the Renaissance. You know, I can't talk like this. So we'll start in the city of Florence, aka the home of the Renaissance. The Renaissance was a period of time of new interest in classical arts and ideology that occurred after the fall of the Roman classical arts and ideology that occurred after the fall of the former capital, Constantinople.
And remember, Europe had been in the middle of a dark and chaotic period of time called the Dark Ages, where people didn't like the culture or the governments at the time. So when Florence received all these spicy ideas from the greatest human civilization of all time, it became the center of a revival of humanist and secular ideas, starting a new period of art and culture that hopefully you will enjoy just as much as they did.
So if you're in Florence right now, you might be thinking, there's so much Renaissance stuff everywhere, I don't know where to start. Well, don't worry, that's where we come in. One place you have to visit is the Michelangelo Gabriella d'Accademia, which is home to David by Michelangelo.
This statue showed a massive change in what Italians cared about, because the medieval paintings would glorify these depictions of God and powerful figures, while in contrast, Michelangelo created a normal statue of a normal guy in a very natural stature. You know, he's just David, and that's enough. And he's great at doing stuff.
Another aspect that made this handsome guy so revolutionary was Michelangelo's near-perfect accuracy in depicting the human body. The Romans had a deep appreciation for human anatomy and realism in their art.
So if you compare David with the shallow and simplistic sculptures of the Middle Ages, you can definitely taste that Roman influence. With astonishing detail in his hands, his face, his ears, and even his...
Next, we're going to take a 7-minute stroll all the way down to the Piazza del Duomo, Italy's largest church, built in 1426. And what you might be noticing is that the building doesn't fully represent the classical buildings we imagine. Where's all the big pillars of marble?
Well, this building actually began its construction during the Dark Ages and finished during the Renaissance, creating a mixture of both Gothic and Roman elements. And the hot Renaissance spot that we're looking at is this dome. And you might be thinking, what's so special about some random dome? Show me where the real Renaissance art is.
But hold on a second, because we have to remember, this was built over 500 years ago and inspired the dome structures we have today. Filipino Brzezinski. Brzezinski. But Vaughn, I'm saying exactly what you're saying.
Brunelleschi, who was the architect of this dome, was the first to use a special method of stacking bricks to construct a dome that stands without any inner supports. So if you look at the dome from the inside, there are no giant support beams to block the beautiful ceiling artwork. Now that's starting to sound pretty Renaissance-cal if you ask me.
Now we're going to move on to the Sassetti Chapel. So ready that ticket in your back pocket because we're traveling 3 hours to the coast of Venice. But before we talk about the Sassetti Chapel of Venice, we need to look at the very important and very loaded man named Francesco Sassetti. Now, the driving force behind the Renaissance were the artists. I mean, duh.
But these artists had to be paid somehow. Why else would they spend multiple days tirelessly working without breaks? Inspiration? The art of the Renaissance was primarily funded by wealthy people and families, like the Medici family of Florence, and our special guy, Francesco Sassetti of Venice. Which means that a fantastic place to see loads of Renaissance artwork is the Sassetti Chapel, a place where he stored all of the great artwork that he funded.
One of the artists Sassetti funded was Domenico Ghirlandaio, who had painted the confirmation of the Francisco rule. This painting features a group of citizens witnessing a historical Florentine event.
And off to the side, we can see a very special person Ghirlandaio placed in his painting. Ghirlandaio! He painted himself into his own painting. So not only did he create a painting to glorify human achievement, but placed himself in the corner so he will never be truly lost in history.
Thank you for watching Heimler's Travel Guide. If you want to learn more about history, you can check out my study guide right here.
No, we can't do that.
It's copyright. No, we can't.
Thank you. Please give me a good grade, okay?
And me too. And wait,
I'm not in the class, but
no, he's in another class. Give him a good grade.
Give me a good WAP grade, please.
In that class. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, bye!
Please don't put that in.
And because our video is shorter than 4 minutes, here's a little blooper reel of Justin. Why only of Justin? Well, I don't know, whatever. My name is Steve Heimler.
And I'm him, Heimler.
Him, Heimler? Yeah, Justin, you're him.
Bing bong bong, bing bong bong, bing bong bong, man. Now we're gonna move on to the Sassetti Chapel. Sassetti. Okay. Now we're gonna move on to the Sassetti Chapel. So ready your tickets.
Sassetti.
Now we're gonna move on to the Sassetti Chapel. Chapel.
Sassetti Chapel.
Now we're gonna move on to the. No, it's fine. It's fine if I don't pronounce it correctly. No one's gonna care. Now we're gonna move on to the Sassetti Chapel. So ready that ticket.
You're just saying a different word. That's not even the same word.